Can Tina Clayton, Julien Alfred, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, or any of the top-tier women's 100 meters contestants compete effectively given the 2028 Olympic Games schedule? Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button so we continue to grow. When you do that, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. We drop a video at least once a day here in Peter Lloyd World. Also, enjoy the content, please hit that like button and finally leave your thoughts. So, ready? Yep. Good to go. Well, if you are a big fan of track and field, you would have heard that the 2028 Olympic Games schedule is already out, and the big controversy is that the proposition is for all the women's 100 meters rounds to be competed in one day. What that would look like is we would have the prelims, we would have the heats, we would have the semifinals and the finals all in one day. Which, yes, it sounds insane, but that's what the schedule says. And of course, this has ignited controversy across the social media and sporting landscape because people, athletes need to recover. All athletes need to recover. And there is, in my humble opinion, there is absolutely no way physiologically that any athlete could give of their best running prelims, heats, as well as semifinals of the women's 100 meters in one single day. And I almost forgot to say the finals as well. So all four races on one day. Okay, let's look at the official releases. World Athletics has announced that all three rounds of the women's 100 meters, including the final, will be held on the same day at the Los Angeles Olympics. The morning session on July the 15th, 2028 will feature the women's 100 meters prelims, the round that features universally athletes from many smaller countries, and the women's 100 meters first round. The evening session will have the women's 100 meters semifinals and finals to close out the session. Day one will also feature the women's shot put final and the men's 10,000 meters finals. Now, you all know that Jamaica has been impacted horrendously by Hurricane Melissa Cat 5, and I've been asked to join World Central Kitchen, an organization who's underground feeding Jamaicans in the aftermath of the hurricane. Okay, people, this is my good friend Sharon Cunningham. She's one of the volunteers and persons working here at World Central Kitchens, and I just wanted to ask her a few questions. My good friend, first of all, thank you so much for helping your country.
You're welcome.
Can you give me an idea of what World Central Kitchens has been doing since you've been working with them here in Jamaica?
Our World Central Kitchen is a beast of an operation. They activated and they've been serving over 30,000 meals per day. So they're hitting like the areas that were hit the most by Hurricane Melissa, and we've been feeding so many people. It's a logistical beast. Everyone's hitting their marks. Helicopters are coming in, drivers are going out, dishwashers are important because they need to prepare the glues to be packed. So it's all, all stacked and going like on a conveyance belt.
What do you do? What do you do?
I am the volunteer coordinator, so I am basically manning all the volunteers that are here at World Central Kitchen. And you just have so many people giving. There are people who are just giving up their time, and we're asking you to give up your time. So even if you can't give us an entire day, you can give us a few hours. You're feeding people. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to feed people.
I should tell you people, I'm sorry, Sharon is why I am here.
Yes,
Sharon,
I dragged him in.
She called me out of a bed, I
dragged him in. I said, okay, we need a community outreach person. Peter Lloyd, this is who we need. We need Peter. So I called Peter and Peter showed up and here he is, and we are so absolutely happy to have him. And you know what? He enjoyed it yesterday.
I did. You know me love, you know me people. All right, thank you so much for your time, Sharon. And thank you for what you're doing for us. All right. Now, it's important to state that according to World Athletics, they came to this conclusion. I'm going to read it here. World Athletics states that, quote, overwhelming majority of athletes consulted said they'd prefer to do all rounds in one day. I mean, I found that very, very interesting. I can't understand why athletes would want that. Now, before I give my 2 cents, let's listen to the words of two of the greatest sprint coaches in history. And of course, first up, let's look at Stephen Francis, arguably the greatest female sprint coach of all time, coach of Sharika Jackson, Shelly and Fraser Price, and now Tina and Tia Clayton. These are his thoughts on this new scheduling for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games for the women's 100 meters.
But it is, unfortunately, a regression to the anti-female scheduling, especially in the sprints, which has been on display by World Athletics over the last, I would say, 6 or so global championships, which I think culminated in 2023 when women who ran the 100 and 200 meters were required to run 5 straight days if you were doing the 100 and 200. Yeah, the 100 over the first 2 days and the 200 over the next 3 without any break, while the men were given 2 days break between the 100 and 200. And that has been the kind of scheduling which has come from World Athletics in the near recent past. One thought that, okay, it was corrected this year and it was more fairly balanced this year in Tokyo. But clearly, they have gone back to what I guess is their natural instinct. Either that the women don't matter and getting the best performances from them is not essential for the conduct of the championships, or that it was anti-female. So that's it is what it is, and there is not a lot I believe that me personally and the other coaches can do about it, because such a thing should be very, very obvious to the schedule makers in World Athletics, and so you can't you can't say that it's an accident or it's accidental or they weren't aware. They clearly are aware, and it clearly must be a type of strategy that they are using to ensure that female performances are just not as important, and that they don't have to make an effort to ensure that the women can perform at their very, very best with the same amount of rest as the men get.
Thank you, TVJ, for that great interview. And now the thoughts of the greatest male sprint coach, I believe, of all time, Glenn Mills, of course, the coach of Usain Bolt, and now the current world champion, Oblique Seville. Take a listen.
I don't think it's good for the sport in terms of the quality of performances that is expected at an Olympic level. And I'm certain that it is going to have an impact on the women not getting sufficient recovery to be able to give us the kind of quality performances that we come to expect.
Now, this, of course, is my 2 cents. So the IOC has decided in their great wisdom that they would like to schedule, well, they're going to schedule for the Los Angeles Olympic Games, which takes place in 2028. They're going to put all the women's 100 meters events on one day, all 4 rounds, the preliminary rounds, the heats, or the heats, as well as the semifinals and the finals in one day. Now, the most obvious thing, which both great coaches, meaning Coach Stephen Francis of MVP and racers Glenn Mills, alluded to, is obvious. How is this going to impact the performance of the athletes, because although the race is a little over 10 seconds, the fact of the matter is it's a tremendous pressure on the athlete. And how will the athlete manage these rounds? Because one of the most important things in terms of the rounds in these major events is how the athlete manages the rounds. And secondarily, if someone is going to be running the prelims and somehow gets to the heats and then the semifinals and the finals, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine the logistics of that. The logic, not logistics, the logic of that. The athletes need recovery time. So the proposition is, as I stated earlier, that they would have the prelims and the heats in the first session, the morning session, and then they'd have the semifinals and finals in the afternoon session. I don't know, people. I don't want to believe that the IOC would purposely do something to jeopardize what is arguably one of their most popular events. Let's face it, this is perhaps the most popular sprint event, if not the second most popular, which would be behind the men's 100 meters finals. So I don't know. It just sounds like a very strange thing to do. However, in their defense, they did argue that they polled the athletes. I would suspect they would have talked to Clayton and Melissa Jefferson-Wooden and Julien, Alfred and Sharika and all these people. And they're saying that the overwhelming majority of these athletes said, yes, we want to run these 3 grueling races in one day. Not sure why the athletes would do that, because not only do the athletes want to win, but I'm sure that the athletes want to achieve true glory, not just by winning. Many of them would like to run PBs. Many of these athletes would like to, it's just a very strange thing. Now, I have to take the word of the IOC. We all have to. And I can't see any logical reason as to why they would exaggerate, so to speak. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't even make sense from a financial perspective, because the fact of the matter is there are people who come to the Olympics and World Championships primarily to see the sprints. So if you crunch all the sprints in one day for the women, you may potentially lose dollars, because there are people who are going to say, well, everything is happening one day, I'll come that one day. So why not spread it out over 3 or 4 days, giving the athletes time to recover? And you'd have more those people who would come to see the women's 100 meters one time, they'll pay to come 2 or 3 or 4 times. Because yes, although it's called track and field, there are people who are more interested in the track than the field, and vice versa. So it in every way plausible, this just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, Coach Stephen Francis is generally very controversial. So him saying, his insinuation here is that it's a slap at women, it's anti-female almost. I don't know how to speak to that. I really don't have enough experience to say that. But what I do know is that logically this just doesn't make a lot of sense. As I said, financially it doesn't make sense. It's going to impact the rounds. And it's definitely, you're not going to see any more 10.61 runs like Melissa Jefferson-Wooden just did, or what the great Elaine Thompson-Herah did at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. You're not going to see those fast times, because the rounds are going to be much slower, and it just doesn't make sense. This literally makes no kind of sense. It doesn't make sense financially. It doesn't make sense for the IOC themselves. It doesn't make sense for the fans. It doesn't make sense for the athletes. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. I can't come up with a logical reason why any athlete would say, hey, you know what? I want to run 3 rounds in one day. No athlete I can think of. This is not a training session. This is the highest possible medal that one can achieve as a sprinter, as an athlete, as a track and field athlete. This is the Olympic Games, which happens every 4 years. So I'm bewildered. I don't know about you people, but I am personally bewildered. I don't understand this. I disagree with this. Of course, I have to say in defense of the IOC that there's probably information that they have that we don't have. Maybe they're thinking that athletes when they're training, they do several sprint rounds in a day, many, sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 in a day. So they're saying it won't impact. Maybe they believe that if the athletes do everything in one day, we'll end up with even faster times because the rounds will go faster. The athletes will have to manage the rounds better, and this, of course, will I don't know, people. I mean, this just doesn't make sense to me, and I know that the vast majority of you agree with me. It's almost like the IOC shooting themselves in the foot, and I am hoping that after all this noise, they'll back off. Because the question is, why aren't they doing this with the men? Yeah, why aren't they doing this? Why don't they do all the men's rounds in just one day? It smacks of, I don't want to say it, but it just seems very strange. This is one of the marquee events of any, and I mean any, sprint competition, the women's 100 meters. Why would you do this? It just doesn't make any sense. So, in my humble opinion, this may not be the most rational thing the IOC has ever done. And I am hoping that with the noise, they will look at the schedule and reschedule, because that 2028 is a good distance away, people. We're entering 2026. I believe it is possible for them to say, maybe this doesn't make much sense, because the fact of the matter is it's going to impact the women's 100 meters, and I don't think in a positive way. But this, of course, is my 2 cents. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us at Facebook at Peter Lloyd World. On Facebook, we're doing really well over there, as well as Instagram, Peter Lloyd World. Also, donate to the channel. Believe me, people, we're going to need it. Let me just say thank you for all those donations up front. Actually, I should put it another way. People, donate to the channel. Trust me, at this point, we're going to need it. If possible, we'll leave our Cash App and our PayPal in the link below, or you can purchase Peter Lloyd merch. I'll leave that in the link below, and that will be pinned. And whatever you can do for the island, please. I'm out there in the field, people. It's rough, but Jamaicans are resilient, and I see Jamaicans smiling even in this process. And I want to say thank you to all the police, all the soldiers, all the nurses. I've been talking to them. Many of them have lost their own homes, and they're out there for their country. Members of the fire brigade, the sanitary workers, all of these people, many of them have been, because people, we here in the West, we got it from, in fact, I think only really Kingston and St. Andrew was actually spared. We got it bad, I'm telling you. So I'm out there with World Central Kitchen, and I want to tell them thank you, and all the organizations who have come down to help us. Many Jamaicans, Kingstonians, people in Montego Bay, they're doing everything that they can to assist, and people in the worst hit zones are out there. I'm on the road now, people, every day, and I'm telling you, I'm proud of my Jamaican brothers and sisters. We are out there, and for all of you from the diaspora and fans of Jamaica who are sending goods, etc., thank you so very much. You are royals, kings and queens. Bless us.